minasan, Hikiyama America desu, and welcome to another stream. This one's gonna be the long-awaited A.V Dosso games, indie horror games, whatever, tier list. That people, and by people I mean like 2 people, are been asking for this. So let's go, right? Before I begin, a little bit of background to this, right? I've been playing A.V Dosso games for the good part of 3 years, I would like to say. Almost 3 years at this point. Oh, wait, what the hell? I'm gonna lower the volume of that. So we're gonna be seeing my own. Hopefully it's not confusing, but we're gonna be watching my old gameplay of the. Actually, I don't think you can see it in there. I'm gonna move it. This is scuffed beyond recognition. Where do I put this? Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna put this one in here. I don't know if you guys can listen like to the video. Can you guys hear the video? Is it confusing? Hello, Alex. Hello, Universal. Thank you for coming to the stream. I hope you enjoy your mac and cheese. This intro music sounds like something from Old The Legend of Zelda. Today is a good day for now. I'm drinking water, right? So I'm gonna move the chat box to the other side of the thing. Yeah. Man, this is a mess. I didn't plan for this. Yeah, the chat it's gonna be confusing. Okay, you guys will share the video with it. So tell me if you guys can hear the video. I can pretty much hear my own voice in the video, which is a little bit confusing. You guys remember when I cosplayed as Ichigo from Hit Anime Bleach? Well, I did. Of course, a little background story about this, right? Again, please let me know if you can hear the video. I will absolutely love to know that. This is the first A.V Dosso game I played, which was the grotesque and the pixelesque, right? I know that the tier list is by release order, but I didn't play them on release order, right? So I'm just gonna be doing the games in the order I play them, because I think like my personal experience is important with this kind of thing. You can, but it's quiet. Okay, it's good if it's quiet. Otherwise, it will be confusing, right? It's just like background noise at this point. Yes, the sound is fine. Okay, yeah, perfect, right? So, I found A.V Dosso how I found every other... The video has no sound for you. Your voice is fine. Okay, that's perfect. Maybe a little bit... Yeah, I think you can hear the video now. I hope it's not too confusing. If it's too confusing, I'm gonna lower the volume again. I found A.V Dosso like I found every other game developer that I have found in itch.io, right? Which was just like, I just went to new games and I started browsing and I found like the grotesque and the pixelesque. And when I went in to see the screenshots of the games, because I don't play games that don't have screenshots, because I need something like visually to get into, right? I love how the game looked. It looked very spooky, and it was a horror anthology. And if you know anything about me, you probably don't know anything about me, but I love horror anthologies, right? So I decided, like, what the hell? It's a bunch of games in a small game, and I give it a try, and it was like, remember, this is one of the first like indie games that I found for the first time. Like, no one told me about them. I haven't heard about them before. And it was so amazing, and it was like, no way someone is making this kind. It was a little bit silly. It was a little bit spooky. It was so amazing to me. The first one, fun fact, The Grotesque was my first A.V Dosso game too before I began watching this channel. What a coincidence. It was destiny then, I guess, right? But like I mentioned, what I love about that game was, to be specific, this one, the first one, I read, this one stuck with me forever. Like, every time I think about the grotesque and the pixelesque, I think about this one. Like, every time I think about something, I think about this one. and it reminds me like how good the story is. I love how you play like just walking. I have played other games like this, not maybe not for the channel, I think, but I have played like the Sugi no Hi series, right? I have played like you just move and spooky things happen, but this one was like, bro, it is so good. It was Halloween. I was in the Halloween spirit. I just love this one. I remember I love this one, and I also this one was nice. It was like not necessarily spooky, but it's one of those things that just leave you like confused in a good way, right? Like when you're watching like a horror movie and you don't know what exactly happened, but it feels nice. And I know exactly what happened, right? But it's just like a little bit surreal, I would say. I don't know how to explain this one. And then this one, which now that I think about it, this room reminds me of a room in a different A.V DOSSOW game. You're gonna see. Uh, it was extra strange, and I'm very much into that. Yeah, that's something that doesn't quite happen, and I'm kind of sad that although A.V DOSSOW has made games for years at this point, and I'm glad that I play all of the A.V DOSSOW games. Uh, I'm kind of sad he never made another like grotesque and the pixeless. I remember at one point he told me that he was planning on making an a grotesque and the pixelist too, but he never did. I understand, and I'm not gonna push it and like, oh, you should make what I want. No, I understand, right? Developers, you do what you feel like doing, what you can do. I'm totally okay with that. I love most of like I would say all the games in this, but I just really want some of this, right? Not a lot of people make horror anthology games, and the people that do sometimes don't do a good work. But this was a great work. Ah, the Mukbanger. Yeah, I remember this one. This was like, regardless of the art style, which is obviously like not the point of these games or not the forte of these games, it was like, what the hell? Actually, if it was with a different art style, I would be like, this is so fucked up. I think the art style is beneficial in this case. I need to use the bat. Ah, this was what. Yeah, it's just a bunch of silly things, and I feel like that's something that A.V DOSSOW has that not a lot of horror developers have, because sometimes horror developers like try too hard or not try hard enough. But A.V DOSSOW just do like silly stuff that came to his mind. I'm guessing, right? I don't know. That's what it feels like, and it works most of the time, I would say. The Doll Collector. Oh, I love this one, especially because of the spooky character, right? Which is just like a crop picture over the other with like this filter or like art style over it. Right? Yeah, I do remember this. This is so good. This is gonna help me with like. I know I remember every game I played, but sometimes it's nice to have like a visual refresher of stuff. Remember when I had two sisters? That's not relevant to the. Ah, the frog one. I love this one. This one it's also one of my favorites. And I much rather play like a horror anthology game with like small segments than a longer one. Like longer ones are good too, but I just enjoy this so much more. Like this is not like it's the TikTok version of horror games. Not just because it's short, but I think like you guys know like two horror stories, like 2 sentence horror stories. Sometimes it's much better to read like a small condensed or like to play a small condensed horror experience than to read an entire creepypasta or play like an entire 3-hour game. Like I have played some RPG horror games that just spent 5 hours just saying the same thing Yumeniki said like years ago, right? A Happy Grotesque Family, which I feel like it's somehow the prototype for A House for Alessa, right? In like a weird way, it's the family, they are monsters, it's grotesque, I feel like even the mom of A House for Alessa, the mother, kinda, it's like this character a little bit, right? It was so good. This was so good, and like I mentioned, I will remember this blue experience. The Girl by the Window. Like every time I see blue, every time I see one of those games that it's just like the torso of the character moving. Very grotesque, very pixelist, right? And this is a tier list. I better begin with the tier list. I don't want to be 4 hours in here. But obviously, the grotesque and the pixelist will be S tier, in my opinion. Like, there's nothing that beats horror anthology games. I did try to make a horror anthology game, you know, the Tales of the Morriconomicon. Maybe there's gonna be a sequel this year. I don't want to spoil anything, but maybe there's gonna be a sequel this year. Maybe, I don't know. I actually need to talk to some people before that. But it's really well done. It's spooky. I like all the stories more or less, but overall it's a great product. And I think as the first game I played that got me into A.V DOSSOW games, I think it's definitely S tier. I'm gonna keep the tiers as they are because, but by the way, thank you Alts for making the tier list for me. I do appreciate that a lot. Anyway, let's go with the next game. That should be the Sakabashira game, right? It's gonna be playing the videos in the background, right? You can just. Hello guys, Hikiyama Moriko desu. Yes, that's me. So the Sakabashira game just the game was kind of funny. I'm gonna lower the volume of it. It's distracting me a little bit. Just let it be like really low background sound. The Sakabashira game was funny to me because it's just like the eggheads of the characters. It's kind of funny, you know. This is like the beginning of the classic A.V DOSSOW art style. I remember when I was playing this. What the hell? What the fuck? Why is the thing that I used to ad block sending me an ad in the middle of a video? What the actual fuck is wrong with ad blocker, man? And just in the middle of a video, how disrespectful. Anyway, in the middle of a stream, not even a video. If it was a video, I will cut the entire thing. Well, before getting rudely interrupted by my ad blocker there, I was saying, I remember when I was playing the Sakabashira game, at the beginning, it was kind of slow for me. Like, nothing was happening at the beginning. It was kind of tense, but nothing was happening. And I was like, maybe I'm not gonna like this game, right? But it came the point when weird stuff started happening, which was about like 20 minutes into the game. I remember like it took 20 minutes for the game to actually get spooky. And at this point I was like, finally something's gonna happen, right? And I didn't have too much of a like hope of this game being actually spooky. But then it started happening. The adventure finally begins. I instantly die because I'm stupid. It happens now. Remember when I did voices for the games? Yeah, that random picture. I love it. It's just like it's that kind of thing that most RPG Maker developers do. Like, I'm just gonna put that random spooky picture here. Scream, instant death. I don't know, I just like that. I don't know why, I just like that RPG Maker essence of stuff. And obviously I got through it. I still didn't have too much of a hope for the game. But the moment I started like loving the game was... Let me a little bit more. The moment I absolutely loved the game was... Gonna go faster. Faster. This one. When I got here, I was like, what is this? And the moment this giant pixelated head appeared, I think I'm just gonna move this one to the center, right? The moment this giant pixelated head appeared, I think I can just do this. Yeah, so the old version of me gets blocked by the chat, but we get to see the game. Yeah. The moment we had this boss battle with the giant spooky head, it was like, yeah, this is it. This is a good game. And again, this is one of those things that stuck with me after all these years of playing indie games. I know I remember everything, but I remember one things more fondly than others. And this is the ones that I love. This game was also neat. I'm not sure if the first instance of it, but the classic formula of DOSSOW games shine with it. yeah, it's just like I remember the battle hitting the crystals, which was a thing in one of the newest A.V DOSSOW games. You know, like the Julia Was Alone Part 4 has a similar mechanic when you have to hit the crystal, which apparently was inspired by this again. So yeah, again, maybe there's not much of a point to making this tier list because I feel like I will throw everything into S tier. But no, I know some games are not quite S tier. So where is the Sakabashida game? Here it is. I'm gonna put it on S tier, below the Grotesque and the Pixelesque. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think anyone's gonna beat the Grotesque and the Pixelesque. I just love that game. Believe it or not, I play it every now and then. I just go back in. It kind of gives me inspiration when I'm trying to make a game. Anyway, obviously the game is full of amazing boss fights, which to me was not that common in RPG Maker games, right? Again, not to spoil everything. Yeah, I forgot to do something. Wait. It's gonna let the video running. Sorry guys, I forgot to do something. I'm gonna do it real quick. If you guys have a favorite A.V DOSSOW game, you can be telling me if you want to. If you have a favorite moment, to be specific, you can also tell me. We're early on the video, so maybe you want to do that later down the road. All right. Yeah, something I wanted to do was just to I just wanted to throw the playlist to the A.V DOSSOW games so people can go and watch the videos if they want to, right? Yeah. Which again, if you watch those videos, it helps me a lot. By the way, I don't know. I wanted to try this, and I need your help, guys. I was watching a video the other day, and the video said like, don't forget to drop a like. Like, don't forget to drop a like, and the like button illuminated when the person in the video said that. So I don't know if it works on streams, but if I say drop a like or hit the like button or something, it works. I don't know. Hopefully it is. I'm gonna say it on my next video, so maybe it works. So I think that's fascinating. Anyway, let's keep going. Next, from the Grotesque and the Pixelesque, we have Discarded Doll Story, which I feel. Wait. Yeah. I feel like Discarded Doll Story, Jam demo version, by the way. I was actually expecting a full release of this game. I don't know if it was mentioned to me in a moment or something, but I do remember that I was waiting for a full version of this game, and I think it doesn't work on this stream. It seems it also works for subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I don't know. I mean, that's so cool. I don't think it does, but I drop a like anyways. Thank you. Like I was saying, Discarded Doll Story, I think it's one, if not, I'm not gonna say the most underrated A.V DOSSOW game, but I feel like it's like one of the most underrated. Like, I don't feel people talk about this game. I don't feel people play this game. I know it's not available anymore, I think, but again, I really like this game, and I really waited for a full version of this game. And I understand not every demo version, not every idea, it's gonna come to fruition completely. I'm also a developer. I know other developers, right? Developing games, it's complicated. Sometimes you just want to get out the story, right? Regardless of execution or if you're gonna finish it or not, you want to publish something, right? Yeah, this is Discarded Doll Story. It's people that get robots for free. But I have to say, very different, like art style a little bit, right? This one, it's a little bit like an Outlander in the portraits at least. People get robots to do their bidding. The robot doesn't properly work. It is a cute robot girl thing. I don't know. I mean, it's naked because it's a robot, right? But like, she gets abused. She does her best. She gets abused. She gets thrown out, right? And you have to like climb out of the. It also really had some interesting mechanics, right? And I do remember the boss battle of this game really well. She's doing her best. It's a really sad story, but with like I like when you turn into a frog. I don't know what's with A.V Dossow and frogs at this time, but it was funny. The game has some interesting mechanics, like the jumping with the frog suit and stuff like that. I know I really like the game as a concept. It has a bunch of fun mechanics, the boss fights too, the conversation. It has that silly humor that the games usually have. Like yeah, jumping with the frog suit was really fun. And then you reach a battle of like the battles are like conversations in this game, which I feel like it kind of sipped out. Yeah, look at that fight. Yeah, this one was like a rhythm game, and like I'm telling you, even if the game wasn't finished, it shows a lot of creativity. This one was like a rhythm battle to defeat this guy, and I was like, oh yeah, the boss fights are gonna be music battles, right? But then the next one is actually a conversation with a monster, and you can like die or be his friend or stuff like that. And then it's the music again. As I say, very fun game. I gotta check out this video at some point. Yeah, definitely is worth checking out. I think it's one of the best games actually by A.V Dossow, but since it's not finished and I didn't get closure for the story, I cannot. You can actually it's one of the earliest instances of A.V Dossow giving me a pet. Right? I think A.V also likes to put little animals in his games, like companions, that nothing bad happens to them, hopefully. Yeah. There we go. Really nice. I'm having a great time. I really had a great time with this game. But like I mentioned, I don't think I can put it on S tier because it's not finished. It is not finished, and I didn't get my closure. I didn't get like a satisfying ending. Regardless if it was good or bad for the character, I didn't get an ending. I like when things have an ending. Obviously, it's not a complete product, so this is your sign to write this Scarlet Doll story fan fiction. Create your own ending. I might as well do it, right? But I don't know. The Scarlet Doll story. Where the hell is the Scarlet Doll story? Okay, here it is. I would put it on B because although I really like it, I remember the game actually having some problems. And obviously it's not finished, right? So it's gonna be B. Believe me, I would like to put it on A, but for this to be for 5 tiers to exist, I need to put something on each tier at the very least, right? So just to be clear, I like all the A.V Dossow games. I just think some are better than others, and like this is just like 9.1, 9.2, 9.5, 9.8, 9.10, right? I don't know. The next one should be A House for Alessa, the first one. And this is a blast from the past, right? Because you wouldn't believe after 4 games, 1 remake and 2 spin-off games, you would not believe the game, everything started with this game, right? And what's more important to me, it's that when I played this game, I didn't expect it will become this giant thing, right? I don't think the developer expected it either, right? I think it just blew up somehow. But it was such a nice game. Like, such a nice game. I remember, like, I was playing and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be another RPG Maker horror game. You know, the little doll there, which, you know, at this point, and I want to make, like, a very clear statement here. This is the only A House for Alessa game that was not, quote-unquote, affected by... If you guys don't know or don't remember, some nasty people went into A.V Dossow's comments on the HEO pages and they're like, oh, why are you making this game so lewd? Why are you putting so much ass? This is disgusting, blah, 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 right? You know what kind of people? I hate that kind of people. They can suck something they want to suck, right? So I don't care about them. And I feel like after that point, A.V DOSSOW started adding more outrageous, quote-unquote, things to the House for Alessa series. And it became like the STD jiggle physics games that everyone, including me, loves. But I also think this game was the less affected by that because it didn't affect in any shape, way, or form, right? So this was the pure Alessa experience, I would say. And for that, I think the game is really special. I still like this more than the remake. I prefer the original version to the remake. The remake has amazing art style, of course, but wait, this is the yeah. You know the Mr. Bob, the little Alessa. I feel like we didn't get enough. Like I want to say lolly Alessa, but maybe that sounds weird. In the games, I wish we had more lolly Alessa. You know, like some segments played as lolly Alessa would have been nice. So yeah, you know, this game just you go. There's the first time we get to see Alessa. You know, the classic house we know and love. At least I love it. Spooky things, spooky dolls. You know, eventually you get trapped by the. Everyone knows the story, right? I died a bunch of times. You become a lamp. Man, this is so good. Yeah, the CGs. I was like, this was like one of my first instances also of recording in the channel, like this kind of CGs, and I was like, I don't know if it's safe. Then we see Alessa half naked. You know, I really don't see what was the problem with people on this. I mean, it's obviously extremely pixelated nudity, and even if if it is not pixelated, what is your problem with people showing nudity in their game, right? If you don't like it, don't play the hecking game, and that's about it, right? And even I don't think it's shown in a disgusting, fetishizing, like misogynistic, I don't know, way. I don't think it is. At the very least, as I check the comments on videos for Dossow's other games, it seems he created a recognizable style for his games. Yeah, and he found his audience, right? That likes what he does, which is the most important thing as a creator, I think. Yeah, that one really. Actually, there is one part of this game that also stuck with me a bunch. The first time we see Greta, right? I went back and played to save my tongue. I remember, which at the end of this Alessa storyline that doesn't affect anything. I remember I did spend a lot of time with this game. Apparently 2 hours playing this game, right? And like Greta kills you. I did die a bunch of times to that until I got the dress. I mean, you eventually get a dress. If you spend the entire game naked, that will be weird, but eventually you get a dress, right? I spent so much time playing this. I do remember these rooms vividly. Purity culture, am I right? Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with purity. I'm okay with being like not sexualizing everything. That's one of the things I hate about VTubers, that they are just like constantly pushing the sexual appeal and stuff. But a little bit is okay. And if you don't like it, you don't have to like it, but you don't have the right to be rude to people about that, right? Unless it's that and it's your fault. Another gem from classic death message from. I spent quite a good time in this puzzle, maybe too much. But I want to get to the part. This thing. Is the guy that screams. Let me up the volume. Let me up the volume a little bit.
Oh my god. Oh god, what is going on here? Oh my god. They are alive.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of weird hearing myself talk on the video and but yeah, I remember that guy. It's a shame he doesn't do the same thing on the remake. That's one of my favorite parts of the game. Yeah, I guess we can spend hours. I love that parallax, by the way. One of my favorite things also from the game. I can spend hours talking about the House for Alessa, you know? and playing a house for Alessa too. Like that's really nice. I love those parallaxes. Something that's also very A.V Dosso like. It was always funny to me that when you're saving the game, it says file archivo, which is Spanish, I think, for file. Oh yeah, that thing, right? I feel like something that's lovely about the Alessa series, it's the dead CGs with Alessa half naked but also half mutilated, and you have like both feelings at the same time. You know, a bunch of things to do. A bunch of things to do in this game. A bunch of nice puzzles. I think in this game it's a very solid experience, right? I think the first one is the most solid of the entire series. So because of that, I will give Alessa an S tier over the Sakabashira game, because as much as I like the Sakabashira game, I just think the first Alessa game, it's a really solid experience, right? It has lore, it has puzzles, it has adventure. It's long enough, but it's not boring at any given time of the game. And it's just like laying this entire cast of characters successfully, which I cannot say from the Sakabashira game, right? Some of the characters from the Sakabashira game I kind of boring or just like there for no reason. But in Alessa, everything fits perfectly, for me at least. Right, so yeah, let's go with that. The next one should be. Excuse me if I'm doing this a little bit slower. I'm doing my best. And we have another one that I do consider a banger. And this might be one of the most bangers in the entire A.V Dosso game tier list. Everything. And if I were to get a remake from an A.V Dosso game, like if you tell me you gotta get a remake of whatever you want, it will be this game. Like, I will love an Undercast Mind remake, because this game has so much story. And usually I don't like games that throw story at you, like lore. You gotta drown in the lore, right? You know, I play the games in the highest difficulty. Let's go. Oh yeah, I quite like that screamer. It's one of my favorite things. The list is not that long anyway. Man, there is a lot of A.V Dosso games. I always forget. Yeah, that vibration of the picture, really nice. And I'm dead. A.V Dosso game. You know, this is where I started. It started to solidify the A.V Dosso style, right? Of introductions. You know, the little cutscene at the beginning. Marion is lovely. I want to see like a remake with a new sprite from Marion. I will love it. You know, this is a story of a little girl. It's not little anymore, right? But searching for her dad that was lost in the Undergas mine. I still have PTSD from the Blue Archive tier list, by the way. It's also one of the first instances of you get an ending if you don't want to play the game, that you can just go back to the car and leave the car. Like, leave the entire thing with the car. That's really nice. The background story for this game, and I really don't want to spoil anything about the background, because I think this game heavily benefits from not knowing what is going to happen. But it is so good. It has so many plot twists, but they are perfect and they make sense. I was just fully concentrated on the story of the game. Like, I forgot I was playing a game in hard difficulty because I just wanted to. Yeah, you can leave on the car if you want to and get an ending which kills the main character, which is, it's something I also really like. From this game, I do remember specific moments of this game, which was should be around here. Yeah, when you find her dead. When you get into the laboratory, I remember I also phased through a wall eventually and started walking on the roof. This one, I really like this moment too. Oh, this is when I yeah, this is where I glitched through the game because that thing was following me. And also, I want to mention something about this game. The maps were huge. Like the surface area of this entire game, I think it's the biggest one probably of any A.V. DOSSOW game. Maybe one of the lesser games is bigger because it has so many small sections. But just talking about one giant section, I think this game has the bigger of them all. It's a lot of walking, which I usually don't like. Actually, this is a game where you can actually die to damage, which I love, and a lot of games, even A.V. DOSSOW games, don't have that kind of thing. Like, you either die in one hit or don't die, right? And I like that I can take damage, so I have to be careful with my health. I feel like a lot of RPG Maker horror games don't take advantage of the you can be damaged and you can heal yourself mechanic because they just want the insta deaths for the CGs and stuff like that, which I understand, but I also like taking damage and not dying. This is where I glitch through the yeah, I just phased through this thing and I was walking, wasting my time. Yeah, a bunch of things following you, very spooky. Oh, this is the thing. I remember this one. This is the ones I actually came to despise this enemy because it's the you walk through. It just teleports like not exactly randomly, but it teleports to places you don't know it's gonna teleport until you die once at least to them. Yeah, I spent quite a few lives in here just dying over and over again to this monster. I would say this was like the most annoying part, but it was challenging. I love it. I was playing in hard difficulty. It was really hard to go through, but I did enjoy it. But like maybe a little bit more of balancing will have been nice. But the games have to be challenging. I died for like 20 minutes in here, maybe more than 20 minutes, right? But I eventually did it. And this is where the good, like this is one of the best moments, not only in the game, but I feel like in all A.V. DOSSOW games, when you release Helga, which appears in other games, by the way. I think it appears in A House for Alyssa 3. And she gets you, but you get away. And then again, I could go talking about this game for a bunch of time. Like, and I'm telling you, this is one of the most underrated games also. And I love it. I think we need more love for Marion, right? It's a bunch of puzzles, a bunch of lore, a bunch of bosses. It's a very complete game. Like, this is one of those games that I kind of feel bad they are free games because I feel like we should pay for this at least like $1. I know I can pay if I want to. I don't have money, right? And I wouldn't be able to play the game otherwise. But I feel like this is one of the few games that I think deserve money for how much effort went into them, right? I have vague memories of that. Yeah, so Under Gust Mine, again, another solid one. There is something. I would put it on A. I don't think it's quite. I believe I would like to put it on S, but I feel like I'm just putting everything on S now. I don't feel like I should put everything on S because otherwise it doesn't make sense, right? So, but I just really like it. I'm just gonna leave it on S. Just hear me out. It's a really well done game. It's really complete. There's a bunch of story. I really, really want a remake of this one or a sequel or anything that you can give me with this lore. I will love it. Let's go with the next one. Then we have A House for Alyssa 2, which is, I would say, the more famous Alyssa game. This might as well be peak A House for Alyssa, but that will be 3. I think 3 will be peak. This intro is legendary. You know, I just really like this because this is like A.V Dossow saying, like, you know what? I'm done with this kind of people. I'm just gonna dress them. You know, Mr. Bob running over the sensor person. And we have the Mr. Bob Novelties song, which is also really, really nice. Yeah, I would say this is the peak of a House for Alessa games. As much as I like 3, I think I'm gonna talk about 3 when I get to the entry, but I think this is actually peak a House for Alessa. Like this is actually one of the first sequels I got for the game. The game looks so much better. It's a continuation straight up from when we left the last time. You know, the universe becomes bigger in this game also. Yeah, I would say honestly, we have the jiggle physics. It always felt kind of bad how this guy just dies. I really like the background illustration here. Yeah, when Greta kills you. Oh, this is that. Are you happy now? Again, I miss those messages in games. This really nice intro scene with the car and everything. Yeah, I would say this is definitely a big House for Alessa, right? Because it feels like everything ended and you're just back in a more horrifying house. The cows in Marietta. You guys remember that one? You should remember Marietta. It's a really important character in the game. A bunch of terrifying deaths. The labyrinth. This game it's also housed to one of the best moments in the Alessa series, which should be it's here. You guys remember the cake scene of everyone worshipping the cake? Like the tables that want you to, like the chairs, I'm sorry, that want you to sit on them. I don't know, this game is just full of joy. Like I can feel the joy that went into making this game. I'm just having a great time remembering this kind of thing. So yeah, I would say this is big a House for Alessa. This might be my favorite. I know I said 1 was my favorite, but just rewatching this. Ah, the mannequins. I love this part of the game. I absolutely love the mannequins running around. I wish they came back from more games. It's just really unnerving. We have a bunch of different endings, slightly sexual endings of this game. The drew a pig for Alessa. Yeah. Alessa's cake must be worshipped. Man, remember when I have 2 swords? I do remember when I have 2 swords, but I have to sell one of the swords to pay for my... I'm just kidding. House for Alessa 2. Where is the House for Alessa 2? Here it is. I would say this is definitely big a House for Alessa. Actually, I think I would put a House for Alessa 1 into A tier. As well as the Sakawashita game. I think that's pretty... It's more balanced, right? So I don't think the games are amazing. I just feel like... By the way, I wanted to contact A.V Dossow for this, for this video, for this stream or whatever, but I feel like I didn't want to bother them. I don't like to bother people, right? So I didn't do it. But if you guys want to tell A.V Dossow that I, later when the stream is finished, that I made this tier list, it will be nice. I don't have to do it, right? But I'm not good at bothering people. That's why I never do collaborations with other VTubers or stuff like that. I just don't want to be, annoying or anything. Anyway, let's keep going with the tier list. We have... Pinocchio Godia, right? Which I feel I played this game recently, but apparently not. Wait, I didn't lose my Emoto and my pet. They are in plushy form in my bed. Come on. I didn't lose them. They are right there. You can see them right there. So Pinocchio Godia, what a really nice game. A really nice spin-off on the story of Pinocchio, right? And I feel like Mia, it's one of my favorite characters that didn't receive enough attention. I mean, I just want everything from everyone every time, right? That you cannot have that. She has huge titties, but it's really, really cute, and I like that. I like girls with big titties that are cute. I don't like girls with big titties that are not cute. The cuteness is important to me. Uh, Again, I remember my only like quote unquote issue with this game was the AI used for Pinocchio, right? But then again, this is one of the games that also has like an incredible story. I remember Pinocchio was really annoying to deal with because you have to go and hide. It appears from behind you out of nowhere. It was a little bit annoying. I reckon that got fixed by an update, maybe, since I played the game. But it was a little bit annoying, right? But the story of the game was really good. Again, I like when people take like a established story and make it spooky in a good way, like in an original way. Not it's like I don't know, Winnie the Pooh, but it kills people. That's kind of stupid, right? But if they like Pinocchio and give it like a nice background story to make it spooky and just make an entirely new story just with the character like this game did, it's really nice. I like the oil mechanic, which adds an extra layer of difficulty to the game. Really, really nice, right? There's a bunch of endings that give you more into the story. And remember, I got slightly stuck in 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 the backyard. I do remember I had troubles with a puzzle in the backyard because I couldn't see the lines. Yeah, I couldn't solve this puzzle because I'm retarded and I couldn't see some of the markings on the ground. Like the pod has a marking with an arrow, right? But I couldn't see that. I thought it was just like a fracture on the pod. So I didn't see that, and I had a lot of trouble solving this puzzle. But that was my problem, not a problem of the game. But then a bunch of things to do. Oh yeah, yeah, that's another issue with this game. I This is the greatest issue with this game. I remember now. Uh, I don't know if you guys watch this when I play it. I mean, you can just watch it whenever you want. The playlist is right there. You can go and watch all the A.V Dosso videos. It helps me, and I'm sure it eventually helps A.V Dosso. Um, I had a really bad time with this puzzle because it was extremely, extremely, extremely confusing. Like, I don't know why I keep saying confusing, but it was so confusing. The squares are not big enough to actually get the picture of what you're doing. And it took me. Yeah, this was so painful. I do remember that was so painful. Oh, this is one of my favorite scenes. When the buff Pinocchio appears. Like again, that's something that I can say about every A.V Dosso game. It's that it has great moments, but it also has some like big mistakes that everyone makes in indie games, right? That's oh, yeah, I love when A.V Dosso enemies do that kind of thing. Like they jump in front of you and then they jump back. It's a classic mechanic now. I kind of got used to it, but I played most of the games, right? It is really nice. I love it. Again, really nice Pinocchio. I love it. Um, but like I mentioned before, It feels like I'm reacting to my own content. This feels kind of weird. Yeah, I feel this game has some really weird design decisions, including that puzzle. Like both of the puzzles, I admitted the one at the garden was my fault, but the picture one was not it. I remember like I had a really bad time. And this is the where you get all the endings. Again, something I love is when you get most of the endings at the end of the game. You can just make different choices. There's an ending when she becomes like a, yeah, this is like the incest ending, right? And there is one when you become a vampire. This is Geppetto's happy ending, right? That's just me talking about the game. So she kind of becomes like, in this one, it's when she becomes a vampire, right? So yeah, I think again, really good game. I'm sorry, I was thinking about what to say. But it has some big flaws, and as much as I would like again, this is one of the things that prevents me from putting it on S. And I really like the main character, but I don't know if that's enough for me to justify the A. I probably put it on B, but like at the top of B because I really want it to be A. And maybe I'm gonna fix this at the end, like I usually do with this kind of thing, right? But just bear with me. Next one. Next one should be this is one of my favorites. And again, I don't truly believe this is the most underrated game of them all. The Flesh of the Cursed Teacher, right? Look at this. Look at this beautiful main menu screen. This is a Game Jam game, by the way, so also to take into consideration. And this is unlike any other A.V DOSSOW game, and I do believe this game is made in Pixel Game Maker. Wait. Yeah, I did mention that it's made in that engine. So we have these generic anime girls that I don't know if they're free assets or something, but they look totally outlandish to A.V DOSSOW games. With the edit, looks much better. And this is sort of like a visual novel, point and clicky adventure. I don't know. Oh, you can play a mini game in this, which is also a plus. I like when games have mini games. Yeah, you can play like a Phantasmagoria of Doors, right? It's a visual novel. It has a nice elements like mini games. You can do a bunch of choices. The game feels kind of slow, and I blame most of the problems of this game on the engine. Like I mentioned before, that engine is not it, especially not for making visual novels. I actually surprised someone made a visual novel out of that engine. The gameplay is kind of slow. It feels dated, again, because of the engine. And obviously the graphics are just like really pixelated, really JPEG, right? Like they feel like compressed. They feel like adjust size is wrong. The aspect ratio is not. It's plagued by a bunch of like beginner mistakes, I would say, of developers as well as people using a different engine. I did enjoy the game, especially when you get to the spooky part. Like that's a little bit silly too. And it was just so funny to me because I think there's a woman that kills you and turns you into a chair too. Like when you get outside. Oh, you get to choose if you want to have milk or cereal first, like a psychopath. You go out. And it kind of like slightly reminded me of like the Harvester game from PC 98. Wait, you have to see this. You have to listen to this. You get the option of helping the kid.
Empty, no one is around. Maybe a lost kid looking for help. What do you do? Oh man, if
Watch this.
I can't ignore this kind of thing, you know. I feel like someday it's gonna get myself killed for trying to help people, but help the child. Why are you crying like a goddamn ghost demon monster? Hello, are you okay? Are you lost? Why are you? Hello? I'm sorry, but it's just really weird. Oh my god, oh god.
And just freaking turns into a monster and kills you.
Kinda creepy. I'm dead, but my friends are.
That I cannot explain how much I love that thing. That it's just like, hey kid, I'm gonna help you. I'm a monster, and you just die. It's silly, but in a good way, right? Thankfully, you can save, so you can just go ignore that. And a bunch of things kill you. A bunch of things kills you. A bunch of things just spook you out of like that thing, right? Oh yeah, the woman asks you for help with her furniture, right? And you go in, and she turns you into the furniture, right? So we can say A.V DOSSOW maybe likes turning people into furniture. I don't know about that. Maybe. Sadly, I'm bound to help people, but this woman just turns me into a chair, right? Yeah, look at that, look at that. Foreshadowing the Alyssa Lamp ending. Yeah, I know, it's like he liked that kind of ending. Love it. Hello, Limit Ace, thank you for coming to stream. How are you doing? Yeah, it's a barely disguised fetish moment. Maybe I'm just kidding, right? I'm saying it's a fetish, but it feels like that sometimes. Then you get to the school, you have to solve a bunch of things, and that's when you actually... Like, I really don't love about this game the fact that the characters are these, like, generic anime girls with generic anime sprites. With huge titties, yeah, but... I much prefer Alyssa, right? I much prefer original characters that don't look like AI stuff. I know this was not made by AI, probably, but... So you get to school, you're looking for the flesh of the cursed teacher. And it eventually appears. And I don't remember this case yet. Take a picture with your cell phone. So really good game. It's funny. Obviously, it's rough on the edges because of the engine and because of the type of game it is. Again, making visual novels, it's kind of hard because it's mostly visual, and you have to draw things. But sometimes people cannot draw or can't be bothered with that. There's a bunch of endings where you die, one of your friends die, the ghost of a previous girl appears, that also has big titties. You can sacrifice yourself, you learn about the curse of the city, and a bunch of things happen. You become a ghost, but both of your friends are alive, which I feel like it's the goodness of the endings. And you can do a bunch of things, it's mostly just choices and stuff like that. And I think the game is really good for what it is, but overall, I don't think it's the greatest, and I'm gonna put it on C. Just because I personally, remember, this is my tier list, right? So I choose what I like to put in every tier. And obviously, I'm not gonna put it on B tier because I think Discarded Doll Story and Pinocchio Goria are much better. But I don't think it's a D, right? I think this game it's a D. I think it has value for what it is. Obviously, if you remake it I remember the developer told me a story about how this game came to be. I just don't quite remember exactly a bunch of things he told me. But I do believe like a remake of this game with a proper engine, like maybe Rampy or something, it would be so good. Like with like proper sprites, like custom character art and everything. I will do it if I had the time, like a fun game. But yeah, solid choice of a game if you want to spend some funny time, some funny spooky time, right? Some people like silly things in their horror games because it helps you deal with the horror of it. And then we have another one that I truly believe, and I'm probably gonna say this about every game, but I truly believe it's an underrated A.V DOSSOW game. And honestly, it's kind of weird to me that this game doesn't have a sequel. Like, I would expect a sequel for this game just based on how much effort went into it. Like, I feel it went a lot of effort. So this game, it's about Otrieta, right? Which is kind of odd. Which is Henrietta, but it's odd, so. I do remember this game starts with a looping, right, mechanic. You can just jump from here if you want to. The looping mechanics in this game were really, really interesting, but I think they were just short of being properly applied. Like they are interesting, but it's not perfect, right? Which is hard to nail, so I understand. And you die a bunch of times. You do different things every loop. You keep unlocking things. You have to die a certain number of times for stuff to happen. You see the spooky face of your monster, ghost, zombie dad. Again, not a big fan of the cheap screamers, but not too bad. So definitely my favorite part of this game is when you go out of the actual building. I remember you have to run away from like a in here you have to run away from like a worm thingy, which is pretty terrifying. That thing, you have to run away from that thing. Just watch. And it kind of killed me the first time because I didn't know what I had to do. But you kind of have to die once to this thing because you recover a memory from that, right? It kills you, you go back. You have to trap him like that. Yeah, and this was the creepy, weird owner of the building, I think, or like janitor, I don't know. Then you get out and the good part of the game begins. There's a bunch of weird creatures in here. Zombie people. I remember I got stuck in this part a lot. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with that part of the game. I think I died 100 times in there. And I went to a different part to solve a puzzle, but I couldn't go past this, so I had to go back. And I wasted a bunch of time. And this is where I tell you the game suffers a little bit from... It is a little bit confusing. Maybe like too much confusion on how to kill that enemy or like how to get past through that enemy. I did play it again, the loop. You really don't know how many times do you need to loop to do things. I think every time you die, you have to go through the beginning, which is kind of annoying, right? Like, imagine every time you die, you have to play everything again. And that's very annoying. But yeah, you can load the game, but then you lose the memory you make, so you have to replay it one. You have to replay everything at least once. And as you can see, most of the time in this game, it's just doing the same thing, just roaming around trying to find what to do, which I found pretty annoying at the time until I eventually knew what to do. For example, I had to dive to open this place, I think. And then you go through here. There's a bunch of new things to do. And then I tried to stab the ghost with the knife, but it didn't work. So I didn't know what to do. And you get a clue. The whole woman. There's a reference to Automagoria right there. The little Automagoria doll. Automaton figure, yeah. I like when developers reference other games in their games. So yeah, most of this, my enjoyment of this game got sucked out because I got stuck there. And it was a very silly thing to do at the end, right? And I don't even know if I got everything like this game had to offer. Look at how many times I died to this. And you just have to wait for her to turn around. But then she moonwalks to you. Yeah, I finally managed to do this. But yeah, I think that sucked out a lot of the enjoyment of the game to me. Like, the puzzles were a little bit confusing, dying and going back forever. This part was horrible to me because I'm really, really blind and I couldn't see anything. Yeah, the game was so dark, the enemies moved so fast. I think I just gave up in this game. Yeah, I think I gave up on this game. Yeah, I didn't finish this one. And as I didn't finish the game, I don't feel like I can judge it completely. I can give my opinion on the game. But actually, where is it in here? Rieta, where are you? Did I not? There is. I will give it Rieta a B because I didn't finish it. I did like where the game was going, but I'm gonna put it at the bottom of B because, man, the game was mortifyingly annoying. Like, there's no other way to say it. I think the game was annoying. At the same time, it was so interesting, and I wanted to play everything the game had to offer. It just has so many design flaws that I have to be honest are not it. Actually, I think I'm gonna put Rieta on C because I think the game really tests my patience, and I will put it on D, but I did quite like the story, so I'm just gonna be C. Then we have another one, which is a much different game than the other ones. Actually, I put a warning at the beginning of this video just to tell people that this is unlike any other games, and I'm just gonna go out of it. I think this is the toppest of the like. Again, I'm just gonna put it behind Grotesque and the Pixelist because I really like that game. But I think this is one of the peakest A.V Dosso games, and it's because it's unlike any other A.V Dosso game. Is the streamer still up? Maybe it's not still. I'm gonna check the connection. Yeah, it's still up. Just people are not watching, I guess. this is one of those games like it's too serious, right? Maybe like it's not. It doesn't have jokes. It's a real life story. It's not exactly a horror game. I don't think it's a horror game by any means. Uh, it's just a sad story that things happen in life, but it also is like that. It has like that bittersweet, sweet, hopeful messages at the end. And obviously, I actually don't want to show too much of this game because I feel like it's one of those things that you have to like go watch the full video or play the game. Even better if you go and play the game. I think this game is still available. It will give you a better understanding of things, and I think it's one of those things that you'd rather spend the 20 minutes it takes you to play this game to play it, and it's gonna do you good, and it's gonna give you appreciation for your life, right? Because I'm not saying like every game when bad things happen to people, and but bad things happen to everyone. Everyone gets sick and stuff like that, but sometimes we need to hear that, right? And what better to hear it in the form of a game, and what better to hear it from someone that did experience that kind of things. I'm always saying like when developers make games about their struggles, their trauma, their stuff like that, it feels so much more personal, right? And I think this game it's a very personal game. Uh, I do have the utmost respect from the developer. Actually, I think this game changed the way I see this developer, right? It changed. Like, oh, it's just a silly TD guy, and that's what makes me so mad that people got really annoying with the house roll SSGs and stuff like that. Because go play this game. The developer is obviously capable of this kind of thing. It's just he decides to focus on other stuff that he enjoys. There's nothing wrong with that, but you don't have the right to judge someone just because you don't like one game that they made, right? And this is such a sweet game. It's such a sad game. I actually don't want to see too much of it because it makes me sad, but in like a hopeful way, right? So yeah, obviously it's S tier for me. I'm just gonna move to the next game before I get depressed. And this one is a toy factory, the toy factory across the street. Yeah. Again, I think this is also one of the biggest map wise, one of the biggest A.V Dosso games. It's also one of my favorites. Wait, I did say something in the video that I don't remember saying. Let me remember that. It's kind of weird, like watching old videos of myself. It's like a time machine. Yeah, Aloy Soldier Senya. That's one of the games I didn't manage to play. That's one of the A.V Dosso games that it's lost to time. The Aloy Soldier and the other Alessa spin-off that I did play but I didn't record are lost forever in time. Again, I would say that the downside of this is that it has generic character sprites and stuff like that, right? Which really affects the uniqueness of the game. Again, a remake of this with the A.V Dosso style, I will love it. Maybe with the pneumonia style, the pneumonia cute, I will love it. Or the I forgot the name of the person that helped with mouse analysis, but I would love like a custom skin of this game. I don't know. Again, I think that's the only problem with this game. I mean, it looks nice, it looks perfectly, but it looks kind of generic, right? On the other hand, the game has amazing gameplay and story, so I will just let it go. Yeah, I remember this. This game was so spooky to me back then. It's just like a baby head following you. Yeah, I think I kind of got stuck in there because of that. But you can turn off the lights to go past through the monsters, right? Yeah, this game has a big map, which was sometimes a little bit annoying, but like the mannequins killing you, which was also nice. They turned you into a mannequin, actually. The ghost in the bathroom. Man, these games are so good. I'm glad I did find the developer and play the games. Then this game has a really weird part that I remember. And it's when you get through here. Yeah, the monsters, the classic body horror of the A.V DOSSOW games showing. This segment of the game, this like basement thingy, attic thingy. It's one of my favorite parts of all the A.V DOSSOW games. Like that thing following you, all of the puzzles in here, all the random kills. This is one of the most solid pieces of RPG Maker horror I have seen in a while. The endings are also really, really good. And I like the doll. I just wish the doll appeared more in the game. I mean, she appears in a bunch of parts of the game, just appears and disappears and spooky thing. But it doesn't do anything. And I wish the doll did more things during the game. And I wish for a sequel of the doll coming back somehow. I think she comes back in the House for Odyssey 3, but it's not. I don't know if it's canon, right? So, it's kind of weird because I do remember liking this game a lot more, but now rewatching it, I feel like it's not as fantastic as I remember the game. However, I think it's pretty solid, so I'm gonna put it over the Scarlet Doll story, but not Pinocchio Goria, on B tier. But I don't think this game is really affected, in my opinion, by the sprites and everything. I think it looks spooky and everything. It's really spooky, actually. The puzzles are nice, but it's not. It doesn't feel as much as an A.V DOSSOW game, maybe because it doesn't have the portraits, because we have the body horror, right? I actually feel kind of guilty. I'm just gonna throw it on the bottom of tier A. Yeah, I think it's an A tier game. It just needs some details fixed, probably. All right, let's move on. We have a weird one, which is what I call Biskispy. This has to be the weirdest game I have played by A.V DOSSOW. Not the weirdest game I have played overall, because I have played some weird stuff. The game is silly. It's a little bit horror, not too much horror. Yeah, but things happen and stuff like that. And Biskispy is definitely a character I would like to see more. Maybe not in their own game, but maybe making cameos and stuff like that. Because it's weird, it's unnerving. You don't know what is happening in a good way. It has different endings. Yeah, it gets really weird with this cosmic thingy. I just find the picture with like paint, with black paint eyes, so funny and not scary whatsoever. Which kind of goes with the game if you think about it. Yeah, you get convinced by a cosmic horror to kill people, right? Like, look at this. It is a nice game. It's just weird and not. It doesn't have too much substance, but I feel like that's exactly the point, right? Not having too much substance. This peak, I guess. So for Beast Kiss, I think it's a C tier. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna put anything on D tier. Probably I will, but I don't know. There's something about this kiss pic that it has charm on it, right? And I cannot put something that has charm on it, like exactly like the flesh of the Curse Teacher and Otrieta. They have flaws, but they have charming, entertaining parts. And if a game is entertaining, it cannot be D, right? Maybe they can, but we'll get into that. Let's go to the next one. We have 60 days till the world ends. Which again, it's actually one of my favorite A.V DOSSOW games because it breaks from the formula that the other games have. It's not exactly a horror game. It's just a girl living through, as much other indie games, living through her trauma, kinda. And a lot of things happen. You get the 60-day mechanic, you have the curious art style. I love the doggy. I love everything that happens to the doggy except the last part that happens to the doggy. You can check your chat, email, you can change the theme, read the news, social network. The game has a lot of information to give it you. You know, Malva is just a little girl, just a bunch of things happening. This is one of the things I actually recommend you to play or watch the video fully because it is so entertaining. I just want to go through, like, you have your best friend. I don't know if you guys ever had a best friend and you kind of grew apart with that friend. But if you have experienced that, you have to play this game because it encapsulates the experience extremely good. And you have to spend like every day doing the same thing because you're in kind of, look at the doggy. Look at the doggy up there. Wait. Look at the doggy up there. Wait. Look at it. Look at it. I love the painting that follows you, and you have to like replay the same kind of the same. It's not looping, but it's kind of the same day every day because you're in kind of a lockout, and you cannot go out. And there's like this bigger than you plot in the game that it's so nice because as much as you have this bigger than you plot, you also have this personal journey thing, and everything is slowly corrupting around you, and there's a bunch of things to happen. Again, I don't want to spoil you the ending of this because it's really good, and it's my way of guilt tripping you into go watch the full thing and give me hours of your time. I'm just kidding. It's actually really good. If you don't want to watch the video, play the game. It's even better if you play the game, actually. I always told you guys, play the game. If you don't have time to play the game or energy, you can watch the video. That's why I make the videos, because some people cannot or don't want to play the games. But if you want to play the game, I recommend playing the game, right? And again, I feel like I'm saying this of every game, but I think I really, really like this one, and I will drop this one into A tier. I don't think it's quite S tier, because it also has some issues, like maybe the game takes too long to tell the story. Although I like the graphic style, maybe it could benefit from like a little bit of upgrade eventually, right? Obviously, we're talking about limitations of developer and time and everything, and I understand my art style is not good by any means, so I understand that kind of thing. However, I don't think the game looks quite good, and it represents what it has to represent, so in that sense, it's good. I would probably put it over the Toy Factory, but not over the Sakabashira game or the House Where Alyssa one. Yeah, I don't like that the doggy has to suffer the consequences of the corruption, but that's the only part I didn't like about the game. That's why it's not S tier, actually. I don't like when things happen to doggos. Then we have Phantoms in the Camp, which is another like outlander, I would say, in the A.V DOSSOW gameography. How do you say like discography for games? Gameography? You will find that this game looks quite different to other A.V DOSSOW games. I quite like the portraits. This is the most 80s game. And like most of the A.V DOSSOW games are kind of 80s, but this is the most 80s game. I like the pixel style they use for this one, the assets they use for this one. It's the classic story, right? You go into a camp, bad stuff happens, but it has a nice game catalog. Yeah, game catalog, that sounds better. Gameography sounds like pornography, and I don't want to say that. So this is one of those games that I don't feel like it has a slow start because it begins like every 80s slasher horror movie begins. But it has a good plot twist, right? And it's more than it meets the eye. I feel like most people will make the horror RPG Maker camp game, and it will be just the first part of this game, but this game goes beyond that. About this time. Yeah, it gets really spooky, a bunch of things happen, you have to solve a bunch of puzzles, escape the enemy that chases you, which I admit was kind of annoying, but fun. Right? I remember I think I glitched this guy. Yeah, I glitched this guy in the... I remember this part. And just kills you. Yeah, that CG. That one killed me a lot until I managed to solve the puzzle. You have to hide because like something chases you and it kills you if you don't hide. I think you have to find like a mouse or something because the director is scared of a kitty, right? Yeah, you have to find the cat and you take the cat to the... Yeah. And again, don't want to spoil too much, but the game just keeps going. You go into an entirely different place that is not the camp anymore. A bunch of spooky things happens, a lot of puzzles. Very complete game, very fun. This is one of the things I was referencing in this part of the map. It's that I mentioned the Julia game. When you go up at the final part of the game to fight the final enemy, it kind of shares the same design of this manor. I do remember, however, I love the puzzles in this game, by the way. I think this game has the better A.V. DOSSOW puzzles in most of the games. I mean, it's not the best of them all, but I do remember at the end you have to do this hallway chase scene, and it was so frustrating. Like, it took me so much time to finish it. Yeah, that's a very creepy enemy, by the way. And then again, a bunch of things happens. Again, I don't want to spoil the ending, so you can go watch the video, but the story is really good. I feel like there was so much more to tell in this game, but it was really, really good. And I think for... I do remember it having a lot of typos, actually, now that I mention it to myself. Where is that? Phantoms in the Camp, this is it, right? I will put this comfortably into the top of A tier. I don't think it's quite S tier, because again, it has some problems in it. But yeah, I will put it on A tier. I did quite like that game. I feel like I'm putting the Sakawashita game too low. I really like that game, but it has its own flaws too. And I have to be fair with this, right? Then we have Absolute Banger. Again, I feel like I say that about every game I play. But we have Automagoria, right? Which I feel like it's one of the favorites of the developer. He really likes automatons, right? So I'm just guessing. And this game, it's unlike any other because it plays differently, right? It plays in 2D, right? It's a side-scrolling game, kinda. You're a robot. It has a really sad post-apocalyptic story. You have health, you have lives, you have a bunch of things to do. You have to fight enemies. It's a little Mega Man inspired. At least that's what I feel. The story goes into so much detail, and I feel like this is a story that a lot of other A.V. DOSSOW games take as canon. definitely an experience, and I have said this before, but I love when people make side-scrolling games in RPG Maker. They just play so good. You can just stab people. You can stab monsters. This is the first boss fight. Oh, this game has amazing boss fights, by the way. You had a time limit also in the game. Like, look at me replaying everything over and over again, because when you die, you have to start from the beginning in hard mode. Because hard mode doesn't have saving, right? That's what made me lost my mind a little bit about this game, but since it's hard mode, I understand. I just switched the difficulty and I just died. I think I killed this one. I just killed this guy, but it's not saving. Then I think I died eventually. And I have to load the game. And I have to start the game in a normal difficulty to play it properly. Actually, let me... I quite like that picture at the beginning. Like the heart-shaped locket with the picture. And it goes much deeper because you eventually like fight this doll, which is one of my favorite bosses. It looks so good. It plays so nicely. Then you eventually find like this one. You find the resistance. Yet later this thing chases you, which is one of my favorite enemies because it just kills you. And I do remember one particularly. Oh yeah, you fall down from those things. I was killed. Yeah, the game has problems, obviously, because it's a side-scrolling game in RPG Maker, and the engine and like the optimization, it's troublesome, right? I'm not gonna exactly blame the developer. Yeah, those are things you can patch if you see them. But in a project of this size, you're bound to miss some kind of things. It's a bunch of bosses. The game is so big, so entertaining because it's not repetitive. I got stuck here, I think, trying to solve a puzzle on the sewers a little bit. And then these things kill me over and over again because it was so hard to kill them. Like, it was so hard and so annoying. And you have to kill a bunch of them over and over with perfect timing. It was so... this part I hate because it just kind of kills you out of nowhere. Again, a lot of things to do. A lot of boss battles. Really nice design, like visually, really nice design of the fights. A lot of things to do, and believe me, if you play this game, I don't know if it's still available, but if you play this game, you're not gonna regret it. Yeah, it's hard, it's bothersome at some parts of the game, like every game should be, but the story at the end, it's absolutely worth it, and I will definitely put this game on S tier. Like, I don't think I did quite like it as much when I played the game, but like days, weeks, a month, I don't know, maybe after I played the game, it actually grew on me a lot, and I do respect the game for what it is and the story it tells. And you know, I think this will be, absolutely at the top of the list because yeah, I like the grotesque and the pixelist a lot because I love like horror anthologies and the stories and everything. But being completely fair, Automagoria, although it has its problems with the mechanics and with the controls and stuff like that, the absolute amount of effort that went into it, the story that it's telling in a perfectly fine way. I don't know, like this could be a movie, not even kidding. I'm willing to ignore all of the problems that Automagoria had and put it on S tier over the grotesque and the pixelist that I love so much because I can recognize effort and I can recognize talent when I see it, and this is the absolute banger. So yeah, again, I do recommend you play this game if you don't want to play it or can't play it. I don't know if it's still available. Watch the video, but really, really good game. A House for Alyssa 3 now. Man, I'm getting kind of hungry. I feel like I didn't have a big breakfast. So I'm kind of hungry. I don't know what I'm gonna eat for lunch. Anyway, we have A House for Alyssa 3, which, as you know, I have a lot to say about this game because, to be honest, when A House for Alessa 2 finished, I was not expecting another A House for Alessa game. I was definitely not expecting collaborating in this game. Thank you so much, developer, by the way. The game is a jump on quality and how it looks and the management of the scenes, the game direction. It's a jump in quality from the previous House for Alessa game. You can see like all the improvements the developer made in the time. I wasn't a big fan of the voice acting, mine included, because I feel like I'm usually not a big fan of voice acting, especially if the first time I see the character doesn't have voice acting and then you put voice acting, it kind of conflicts with how the character sounds in my mind. And I remember I was having a lot of fun with the Greta and Alessa voice acting, which was kind of silly to me. Yeah, I know I did a terrible job voice acting, but sorry, I had to drink a little bit of water. I like the cute new sprites, by the way, in this game. Just for one specific reason, like, I was glad Greta was alive at the beginning of this game, but then she's gone. And that's one of the things I was like, no, why she's gone? I wanted to play Greta, I wanted to Greta and Alessa to do things together to defeat evil. And they kind of do, but not in a direct way, right? When she's following you. This game had a lot of improvements towards the previous in like quality of life things. And again, it's a really long game. What is for like 4 hours? It took me like 4 hours to finish this game. A lot of things to do, and I want to get to the point where I mention one of my favorite things about this game. I like the enemy, by the way. I like Marietta as an enemy that appears in the previous game too. But it didn't appear to be that important of a character until it is. Because we got rid of Mr. Bob, right? Yeah, I didn't quite like the Alessa and Greta voice act thing. Personally. And this is something I did like. In this game, Alessa has a bunch of different outfits. And I think it fits really, really well with Alessa having different outfits. I love that you can use the different outfits however you want. You can collect them, which adds so much to the game. The Dr. Salometti, right? And this game actually made me doubt, like, oh, it's Alessa imagining everything. Did this really happen? It's not happening. We have Helga, right? Do you remember from the Undergas Mind? This part of the game was really, really good. Like, I was not expecting. You get the lobotomy ending in here. 12 endings in the game. Congratulations, you got Alessa killed, and now Greta is crying. You piece of shit. I love this kind of ending message. It's a classic. I managed to escape. I like that the dog jumps with you. Look at that. Lovely. And you eventually get out of here and start the real game. I mean, this is a real game, but I mean, like, you start the real adventure, I would say. I love that the illustration changes when you change outfits too. I mean, this game is just really complete. And although I do believe A House for Alessa 2 is peak Alessa, I think in terms of like content put in the game that I enjoy, I think A House for Alessa 3, it's like, this is like a love letter to fans, I would say, of the series. It really showcased everything that you love about Alessa in a more like showcasing way and not like a Alessa 2 way. I don't know how to explain this. I'm just really bad at explaining things. And as usual, the game has a lot of puzzles. I think they're really nice puzzles. I do prefer the puzzles in other games, but like, for example, these death animations, that one's really good. You have to admit it, that one's really good. Yeah, this game just has like an absurd amount of content in a good way again. And I feel like it puts to shame games like want to sell you like DLC and stuff like that, because it gives you. This is how games are supposed to be. Like all games that had everything inside the disc or the cartridge, like the full LS experience, just a bunch of outfits, a bunch of lore, a bunch of characters appear in the game. There's voice acting that, even though I personally don't enjoy the voice acting that much, it's a step up in quality of the game. There's a bunch of bosses. You have to kill Salometi here, right? You get your also the Alessa shake, the dance. Come on. Fantastic voiceover of the song by the developer, by the way. I love it. That's the only voice acting I'm willing to accept. Uh, really nice, right? You get to change your outfit and everything. A banger of a song that we're gonna remember from generations. Uh, Again, look at that thing. You visit all locations of the game, but with new things that happen. This is the one that draws the stuff, right? It shows you pictures and you tell what it is. Yeah, the tree, Ferdinand the tree, that we eventually disappears and dies. Oh yeah, I remember this one. The shadow dolls. You dance until you die. Oh, the cave waifu. You guys remember the cave waifu? That was really based on this game. All the VTubers and YouTubers that play the game, right? And I kind of miss the point of all of this, and I miss it. Uh, it was kind of funny in retrospective, but I feel pretty stupid also. You get to play this. This is the game where you fight Barvas, right? I do remember being an enemy that's called Barvas. That's the shady guy. Me cute, me pretty, me kawaii. Yeah. Yeah, this is the game where you fight Barvas, right? I'm pretty sure about that. You get the ninja outfit. Yeah, this is Barvas, right? I don't remember. Is your has Airy too? Classic A.V Dossow joke, I guess. Yeah, it's Barvas. I told you when I was playing Julia Was Alone, I remember there was a boss called Barvas, and was this one. I wonder if it's related to the Julia lore, maybe. Can we get like a connection, like a force connection? Like I'm gonna make this. Yeah, I got absolutely decimated by this guy. What if I make just this like absurd like theory crafting video about how all the A.V Dossow games are connected? I know some of them are connected because the developer told me, but not all of them, I think. And yeah, you kill Barvas. Yeah, I could see this. This is 4 hours. I'm not gonna go through all the video, obviously. But yeah, I think a House for Alyssa 3. I think it's a solid A. I would say over Phantoms in the camp. I'll be honest. I don't think the Julia lore was conceived by this point. Yeah, but I wonder like if there's something in A.V Dossow's lore vault that. I mean, what does even Barvas mean? Like Barvas, barbarian. I don't know. Barbara, I don't know. It could be anything, right? I don't know. I think it's nice. I think it's nice. I like to think it is in my mind. It is, and I'll just go with that. What's next? We have Toiletisia versus Evil. This game. Believe me, when I was like, oh, this is a game about a toilet-faced woman. I was like, nah, man. I actually thought about not playing this game because I really don't like this kind of humor. But I was like, what the hell? This developer hasn't disappointed me yet. I like the beginning, the compelling story, well-written characters, voice acting, box-free gameplay, creative stages, engaging puzzles, breathtaking mechanics, intellectual humor, multiple endings. This game has none of that. This game has none of that, yeah. I know it's a silly game. I know it's a funny game. You get your toilet police officer detective, which is kind of dumb, and it's a bunch of toilet humor and fart jokes. And she's so thick as oatmeal. And you have to defeat like a cult of people. And you have to shoot people and they die with exaggerated graphics. It's just a silly game overall, but it's also a really complete game, right? It's like you can play it, it plays nicely. That boss is actually really cool. I really like the design of this boss. And it's like I've been saying, like A.V DOSSOW does some silly things, some ridiculous stuff that I actually wouldn't like, but it somehow works because it's still a little bit horror and really creative. So you will be thinking, because I don't really like the fart jokes and everything in, like, all jokes related in this game, not a big fan of. I like the big titty succubus. I'm a generic big-chested demon queen final boss summoned by the cultists in order to do evil stuff. That's the last boss, right? Yeah. And then you win, and Toiletisia is all happy, but she's still very dumb. So I have to say, this is definitely not my favorite A.V DOSSOW game. And for a moment I was thinking, like, maybe I should put it on D. But the thing is, I had fun playing this game. And what right do I have to put something I had fun with and putting it into the worst tier, right? So I guess I will put it at the bottom of C tier because I really cannot stomach toilet humor, but I can recognize this is a personal preference and it does not affect the quality of the game. So I don't think this game is D tier, and that's what I've been telling you. Maybe I'm not gonna put anything on D tier, maybe. Let's go with the next game, right? I'm getting really, really hungry, so I'm just gonna maybe not speed up a little bit, but I'm just gonna try to summarize my love for this thing. So Mausoleosis, which is by my knowledge the first actual collaboration with this person that they collab. I don't remember the name, I'm sorry. I remember when Mausoleosis came out because it was like, oh yeah, an A.V DOSSOW game, and it looks so different, obviously because it has a different artist, right? But Kazu, right? Yeah, the art style of Kazu, yeah. But I have to say, this game goes beyond a different graphic style, and a different art style. I'm just saying the portraits are just absolutely beautiful, like out of this world, amazing artists. I just want to say that. But also the story that, again, I feel like this is one of those games that benefit from going blind, so I don't want to spoil the story. Again, this is one of those games that I think showcases the up in quality that A.V DOSSOW had at a certain point in his game making career. Again, I don't feel like I love Iris, so beautiful, so Princess Peach. Like, I feel like I cannot say a lot about this game without spoiling it, so I'm not gonna say a lot about this game. But what I'm gonna say is I absolutely love it, and my love goes beyond how good it looks. Right? Yeah, it looks amazing. It's one of the main attractives of this game, like attraction points. But there's so much more to it. Why did I flash a picture of Shatra there? Oh yeah, I know what I did that, yeah. I forgot I sometimes randomly put like art pieces into the top of the screen. Uh, the game has really nice puzzles. It has really nice progression for the endings you can get. It has one of the best stories and definitely also has one of the best monster designs. Now that I'm just... Look at that thing! Actually, I do remember one part of this game, which should be around here. Around here? I remember there was a monster that just runs at you and kills you because it's like a trap room. If you go there, you die 100% of the time. And it really got me, like, it really scared me a lot. But I cannot find the exact moment. It was around here. You get to have some nice conversations with your partner in this game, which are really, really important for the plot. I feel like I'm ready. Let me search for the part I'm talking about. I do remember that monster scaring the heck out of me. The first time at least. Oh yeah, that one's also really good. Yeah, this game is actually really, really spooky. I love this game. The art big, eyes speak. Also, it breaks my heart in the bad ending. Yeah, the endings in this game are the absolute best. I think it has one of the best ending collection in the whole. Like, all of the endings are really good, are really solid. So I think it has one of the best endings in the entire A.V DOSSOW gameography, game list, game catalog. Yeah, that thing. Can I go back a little bit? I think it was a little bit back. Yeah, it's around here. I think it's this one. Yeah, this is it. That thing looks amazing and it scared the shit out of me the first time I found it. I actually had to stop playing the game for a second to like calm myself. And I love it because it's one of the few times games actually scare me. RPG Maker games actually like spook me. And it was not just because of the jump scare. The monster is actually terrifying and the situation is just so tense. I love it. And I love most of this too, right? So I think it's just fair enough that I put it on S tier, but I feel like even though most of this is it's amazing, it looks amazing, the endings are amazing. I feel like I still like Grotesque and the Pixelesque a little bit more because that's my personal preference. And I think Automagoria it's just on another whole level. I actually should make like S tier and put Automagoria there. But I'm not gonna do it because someone else made this tier list and I want to respect the order, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. Yeah, really solid game. Then we have the House for Alyssa remake. Up, up, up. And look, I have to be honest. This game looks nice, but on principle, and this is my opinion, I don't think A House for Alyssa needed a remake. I know this is like an alternate timeline where things happen a little bit different and other stuff, and maybe it's like a second universe when things can go different if it were to happen. I like how Mr. Bob looks, kind of spooky. We get new sprites and everything, right? Which yeah, it looks really nice, but then again, I don't think it was needed. Yeah, I think I know this game adds a bunch of extra stuff to the game. It makes it more streamlined. It looks more detailed. Obviously, a House Release that the first one was kind of basic. For example, the shower scenes. Again, this is nice, but I don't think it was needed, right? And like all the nakedness of Alyssa, it's pretty much welcome. You go like a lot deeper into the endings. I think I did miss one collectible in this game. Now that I think about it, I don't like the redesigns of the family. Right? They look like cracked, and that's okay. Yeah, but I quite like the old art style a lot more. And again, I already talked about the House for Alessa, and this is pretty much the same game, but like updated graphics, change a few points of the plot. I actually cannot show that because it was too much, but it didn't turn you into a lamp. It just stabs you with a lamp, which I think it's a downgrade to the original one, in my opinion. Yeah, the dead CGs are actually so much better. And yeah, this game really changes a lot of things in the game, for better or for worse. But and this might surprise a lot of people, but although I quite like this game as any Alessa game, and I think it makes some parts of the game so much better. The endings change a little bit. It's not canon with the other Alessa games, right? I really like that illustration. But I'm gonna be completely honest, and this is gonna shock people, probably. And it's not me trying to be mean, but I think I'm gonna put this one on D tier, and it's just on the principle that this game was not needed. Like, I'm just gonna say it as I see it. Uh, I left it to defaults. You can do whatever with it. I don't think this game was needed. I think A House for Alessa 1 was good enough. I don't think the game changes enough to justify a remake. I'm against remakes of games that don't need remakes. And that goes to AAA games. That goes like, look, if you're gonna make a remake of the game, you have to do it to the level that Final Fantasy VII did it, right? If you play the original Final Fantasy VII and you play remake Revert Final Fantasy VII, those are two completely different games with a bazillion different things and a much needed upgrade for a classic, right? However, I don't think A House for Alessa 1 was that outdated that it needed uh, that it needed an upgrade, a remake, anything, right? I don't think the game really needed, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it. This game, I played the game, I like the game. It adds some much needed stuff to the game. It definitely looks quote unquote better, but I really did not like the new enemies sprites, and I feel like I came to somehow. I'm not gonna. I don't want to say dislike the game, but I came to not like this game as much because it messed up with my perception of the first Alessa game, right? And I just when I think of the first House for Alessa, I want to think of the first one, not the remake, right? And I know the remake is a different universe and stuff like that, but then again, I don't think it was needed. And on that principle alone, I feel like I have to put it on D tier because it's something that, again, if the developer wanted to make it and they needed to make it and they wanted to make it a collaboration and everything, I understand that. I accept that. And I don't have a problem with that. I'm not gonna go to the developer page. I always leave my honest comments with like honest opinions, and I don't think I'm rude by any means. But on the realm of this tier list, I think it's a D tier because all of these other games, like let me make this smaller. Like, there, yeah. I think all of these games needed to exist, right? Every single one of these games needed to exist. Like there's no other one like this or like this or Tomagoria Mausolus is House for Alyssa 2, Undercast Mind, Phantoms in the Camp, Sakavashira game. There's no other things such as those things, right? But we have a house for Alessa. Why would I go for a house for Alessa at home, right? We don't need a house for Alessa. We have a house for Alessa at home, and a house for Alessa at home is the remake, right? And again, it's not a bad thing. You know, when you tell your mom, can I get McDonald's? And your mom tells you, we have McDonald's at home, and you go home and you eat a homemade hamburger. It's still a hamburger, right? It's still good. It's still nice food. It's delicious. It's gonna fill you up. I know it's not the McDonald's that you wanted, that you needed, that you wanted to taste the exact taste of McDonald's, right? And that's a perfect metaphor, right? Because when I think of a house for Alessa, again, I like to think of the original one, which is my McDonald's. It's my perfect recreation of an Alessa game. And although I like the remake, if you make me choose between the remake and the original, I'm gonna choose the original every time, and I'm gonna let the remake fall into the lava, right? So I cannot put it on the same tier as the original, which is tier A, right? And I could put it on tier B, but then again, I think Pinocchio Goria did an amazing job at adapting the story of Pinocchio, and I think the Scarlet Doll story make an amazing attempt at an original story, which is, I feel, something this game didn't do. So I will have to put it on C tier. But then again, all these games on C tier, even though they have their faults, they have their charm. And I think the charm of a House for Alessa remake gets stolen by the original Alessa game. So D tier, right? If you don't agree with me, I understand. And I have to remind you, I still like every one of these games, right? I did play them, I did give them an original review, but I'm just being fair with this kind of thing. And it's like, to be fair, it did not need a remake, right? It's when like they make like the remastered HD of a game, and it's like, what the hell? We don't need this. We have the original one that it's as good as this one, if not better, right? Anyway, let's move on. And coming back to a topic I mentioned before, I feel like Alessa remake, it's the original Alessa game, but affected by the why are you making so many boobs thing, right? Which I much prefer the original. I like boobs. I like the Alessa games, but I prefer the original. And we have Billy Went to a Carnival. A game where Billy goes to a carnival, I'm guessing. That's what I say at the opening of the video. This game has some RPG aspects that were quite interesting. Again, a different art style, you know, nice story. I like when the characters are like little kids because it adds this sense of vulnerability to everything, right? It's like, if I'm an adult with a shotgun, it's not as dangerous as being a kid, right? We do some dumb things, some bad things happen. I lost my best friend, which happens to be a girl, which is really cute. Then we have the big titty ghost mommy girlfriend thingy. By the way, this is my absolute favorite character, Amicia. It was Amicia, right? The name of the character. I forgot the name of this guy. Yeah, Amicia. Yeah, it is my favorite character of this game. I just absolutely love her. You know, the little. How do you call these things? I don't know. I just really like the fact that you can like recruit these different party members. I mean, it is so nice. I love it. And the game changes depending on which characters you choose, right? Because they have different conversations and stuff like that. It's so beautiful. A trapezist. Yeah, it's a trapezist. Actually, when you put it like that, when I put it like what? Yeah, I think this is one of the most banger games. And I think if you want to make an RPG horror game that actually has RPG battles, I think you should follow the example of this game because it does a really good job with the battles. The battles are fun. There's a big variety of enemies. There's a much needed variety of skills. You still have puzzles. You still have things to do. But the battles are important in this game, right? And you can choose your own party members, which is something I absolutely... Look at that monster design. I love it. Choosing your own party members and rejecting the ones you don't want to Very nice, because it gives the players a completely different experience from the previous one that played. So even if you watch my video, you can get your own experience with your own party members. I just choose the cute girls. And I remember I finished the game with just 3 party members because I'm really like that, and I just choose cute girls. I have a problem, I know. Shut up. But yeah, very nice. I know that at some point in the game, the fights get a little bit annoying, but you know, all you have to do is grind a little bit. So yeah, I think this is another absolute banger. I really like Billy Went to a Carnival. I will put it at the bottom of C tier, at S tier. I'm sorry. Uh, so I don't know if at the bottom. I think I don't know. It's so much peak at the top that I cannot organize this thing. Mm, but yeah, I think it would be at the bottom for now. Maybe I'm gonna change it later. The next game we have is A.V Tree Massacre, right? I know you're hungry, but shut up. I'm almost done with this video. Can you wait for me like 20 minutes? Come here. Sorry. It seems not only myself, I myself am hungry, my dogs are hungry too. With the more detail and exaggerated art and sprites, the remake might be what people thought the original was. Yeah, that's a problem, right? You will never have real McDonald's if you only play the remake. Also, the remake doesn't tie into Alessa 2, so that's also confusing a little bit. What about a demake? How about that? So we have 83 Massacre with the absolute badonkers that I have ever seen in my life. And you know, you might be thinking I would at some point get tired of big titties, but I never get tired of big titties, of jiggle physics. I love it. That's what make a man, right? Of course, there are some points in your life where you don't want to see titties, and you don't need titties in every game, and you don't need you don't need titties to make a good game, but titties definitely make a good game better. This is definitely a pretty 80s story. It's kind of silly. These segments with the little girl with the little baby saving woman. Forgot the name of that character. Yeah, the fact that you're like living the same story but in 2 different points in time. I like how nice. You know, it has so much of everything I like about A.V DOSSOW games, right? It feels like the formula properly applied, but with some extra. Oh, Pauline, yeah, I like the Pauline story. The Pauline sprite is a little bit confusing to me, but I like it. And she's just so big. Every woman in this game is so big. But the story in the game, the plot twist in the game, the extra endings in the game, the thing I discovered by mistake, it is also really good. This thing I discovered by mistake. I feel like maybe the ending the ending where you go at the end, the fact that you can choose the paths, it's also really nice. Uh, so yeah, I think this game it's just like a remix of all the good things that make a good A.V DOSSOW game, but like with some add-ons. I cannot say it's an incredible game. Like I cannot say this is the best game ever that I ever played, or like even the best A.V DOSSOW game. But it's definitely a solid experience. I quite like it. I think I would put it on the bottom of tier A, maybe. I think I'm gonna downgrade the Toy Factory to B tier, so I don't crowd so much the A tier. Yeah, I think this works out. Yeah, this is working just nicely. No, I mean people commenting that the first Alessa game is being too lewd, even if that wasn't the case, and the remake accentuating actual lewdness. Oh yeah, oh okay, I understand now. Like that's what the people saw when they saw the first game, but that wasn't actually there. Yeah, okay, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, so we are 4 games and done. We have a house for Alessa. Which then again, it's a game I didn't think we were getting or was needed. When I first got the news that we have a house for Alessa 4, I guess, I was like, we really need more Alessa. I thought everything ended with 3. Look at that dancing. Look at that dancing. Obviously, a real upgrade on sprites this time. It's retelling the story of what happened. And I'm gonna be clear, this game suffers, although the Greta sprite looks amazing. The sprite and the portrait, they look really good. Like, the game looks quality. That I can say that much. This game looks quality. But I feel it lost. A House for Alessa lost a lot of what A House for Alessa 3 made, that it was great. I think like A House for Alessa 3 nailed a bunch of things, but they don't translate to this game. Like, it feels like a completely detachment from A House for Alessa 1 to 3. It has some good parts. I mean, I like the CGs in the bathroom and everything, right? You can do a lot of things. You know, Alessa has giant ass cheeks out of her. You know, you can play the video game and check the email at the beginning. Actually, this is one of my favorite parts, and it reminds me of the Flesh of the Cursed Teacher, that you can play the game and everything. But I love this remake of the original Alessa one. For example, I think this is a better remake than the other one. It's a remake, right? And yeah, it looks amazing. The story is interesting, but I cannot help but feel again that we didn't need this game, right? Of course, it's up to the developer. He can do what he wants to do, and I respect that. I still enjoy the game for what it is. Like, as a standalone experience, I enjoy the game. Like, this enemy, it's actually quite interesting, right? But I think this game was a collaboration with Pneumonia Cute, I think, and I cannot help but feel like the mixing of the what was. Let me pause for a moment, because I don't want to say something rude by mistake. And I want to be completely clear with what I'm saying right now, because I'm not criticizing anyone. I'm not blaming anyone for anything. I'm just saying, for me that played the A.V DOSSOW games, and a lot of other people, I guess, the House for Alessa series, like 1 to 3, was the quintessential Alessa, right? It was like an expression of A.V DOSSOW, like unadulterated A.V DOSSOW, like pure 100% A.V DOSSOW things. And with the remake, maybe it was kind of weird, but with A House for Alessa, we can really feel the influence of Pneumonia Cute, I think, right? Which is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong; it's not a bad thing. She has an amazing art style. She has some creative input that is much appreciated to switch things around. However, I feel like this game, and I feel like I mentioned this in my review of the original video, this game doesn't feel quite as an Alessa game, right? And I cannot help but feel like something I really like just changed for the worse. And I feel like that's what happens when they, like, oh, we're gonna remake the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a new audience, right? Or with a new director or stuff like that. And they switch so much the original that I don't like it anymore. And it's not necessarily because they're making something that it's not good. It's just like, look at that Mr. Bob. Like honestly, tell me, yeah, the drawing quality is really good, yes. But look at that Mr. Bob. I think you can look at that because of the chat. Look at that Mr. Bob. Man, look at that Moriko. Is that Moriko behind me? Yeah. Look at that Mr. Bob, and look at the original Mr. Bob, and tell me which one is more scary, which one is more Mr. Bobby, right? It's not this one. It's not this one. And then again, there is nothing wrong with this one. The quality, it's amazing. It's good. I like the quality of the Alessa chibi sprite, right? That's not my Bob. Hashtag that's not my Bob. Yeah, that's not my Mr. Bob. Send it back to, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I would say when I play Julia Was Alone, that was a collaboration between A.V DOSSOW and Pneumonia Cute. But that's, as far as I understand, that's a project they brought to life together, right? And it shows because it's cohesive and everything works exactly. And there's no Julia Was Alone original just by A.V DOSSOW that I can compare it to. So I feel like this Alessa remake and Alessa 4 suffer by comparison to the original ones, right? And it's not that they are bad games; they are not bad games. I did quite enjoy the games. I can tell you a bunch of good things about the games, like this puzzle with the boxes with time turning mechanics, really good. You know, I just didn't feel like the enemies were as good as in the other Alessa games. I do quite like the CGs. CGs are really, really good. I mean, there's no. I'm not doubting the quality of this game. I'm just judging it as an A.V. Dosso game, and maybe it doesn't meet up to the standard of the other ones, right? This is a nice puzzle, also. It took me a while, but it was a nice puzzle. It also has one of the best scenes in every A.V. Dosso game. I have to admit that, right? This game may not do a bunch of things right, but man, this scene really 10 out of 10. I will feel like this scene alone ups the game a couple of tiers, right? It also has a bunch of endings. It has like this evil Alessa thingy, which it doesn't compare to the evil Alessa from the previous game. So I don't think it quite matches. Well, it's not evil Alessa, it's Alessa possessed by Bob, right? And yeah, I think again, uh, as much as I like this game, I don't think it's on the top list of. And yeah, call me biased because I don't like I feel like the collaborations take away from how much I enjoy the pure A.V. Dosso things. As you can see that I have a collaboration right here, so it's not that I hate collaborations, right? A House for Alessa would be a B. I would like would be top of the B tier, but definitely it's not A tier. I mean, it's not a remake, so it's not at the bottom, right? We definitely, but we really need Alessa 4? Like, when you think about the plot of A House for Alessa, do you really think about A House for Alessa? Like, be honest, I don't. I really don't. Like, for me, the games ended after Alessa 3, which was the perfect ending of the perfect trilogy of games. And yeah, I do welcome a remake. I do welcome Alessa 4. I do welcome Super Alessa Bros. Everything that you can give me that gives me a little bit more of Alessa, I love it because I love the character and I want to see more of it, right? But I don't know if a remake and I don't know if A House for Alessa, like for Alessa, was the play to do. I feel like there was other directions, maybe like a prequel, maybe like Mr. Bob affecting other people, maybe what did Greta do, like a house for Greta? I don't know, like side games with different stuff, right? Because I feel like A House for Alessa was about the same thing we already seen in A House for Alessa 2 and 3, but not as good. So yeah, it's gonna be at like at the bottom of B tier because I'm not sure if we needed this sequel, to be honest. But I do quite like it, so it's not C, it's not D. I quite like it, so it's B. I think B is pretty good. I got B's most of my time in school, and I did good, I guess, right? So for me, a B is not terrible. So let's move on. We are almost done in here. We have the Cannibal Mermaids game. Cannibal Mermaid Trench. Um, okay, I'm trying to think about this game. So I don't really remember a lot. I remember the spaghetti guy. And again, I have to be honest. As much as I don't like to say mean things, I don't think there's a point in saying mean things. I also don't like lying to people. Like if I went and review your game and I tell you something good about your game, you can believe me. It's honest, right? I don't like to sweeten my words for people. If I don't like something, I just say it. I think that's the way it should be. However, I like to say it respectfully. I take my respect developers juice. And the first thing about this game that I noticed is it's also a collaboration, but I didn't like the art style of the game. Like I just didn't, which is kind of weird because this is a collaboration between A.V. Dosso and Honeynut Phemius, right? And I did play another game by Honeynut Phemius, the Bandicoot game, Ava's Spiritual Guidance, I think it was, and I did like the art style of that game a lot. I just think the art style didn't translate properly to to an A.V Dosso game, right? So I don't like this art style. I don't like these characters. They are just like really annoying, uh, really out of place. They are just like weird stereotypes. If I remember correctly, these are characters from different games, right? So they are just like this. I think I mentioned this when I played this game, but this just feels like a giant ad for another game that I haven't played or that I'm probably not gonna play or that hasn't released yet. Uh, I did like some of its weirdness, quirkiness, like the spaghetti guy, Gianluigi Spaghetto. It was funny. I like the holy spaghetti. It looks silly. It's funny. However, I feel the game constantly shows this character and it breaks any tension that you can get from the game. And yeah, I know it's not supposed to be a 100% scary game. I feel like the voice acting in this game was really not needed. But I probably gotta say that about any voice acting because I'm not a fan of voice acting. Just in AAA games and in Japanese probably. Uh, but yeah, like 100% of the characters are annoying. They just have like annoying like quips of quote unquote comedy that I cannot stand. And honestly, I'm gonna be 100%, 200% honest. Most of my time in this game was just miserable. Like I was like, can we please go on? Like that's another very disrespectful thing. Like what they did to Pauline this game was like, what was it really needed to bring Pauline just because you bring characters from other games? You don't also have to bring Pauline, which was a very tragic character in Every Three Massacre. So I honestly felt I know they are the developers' characters. They can do whatever they want with the characters. I understand that, but I personally feel it was very disrespectful to the character, and I didn't like it. Uh, this one was quirky and not exactly great. In this world of indie games, you're either funky or quirky. I think you can also be serious, right? However, not everything is bad with this game. Yeah, it's very silly. It breaks any kind of immersion and anything. Uh, the game plays normally. I don't think it has any charm point to be specific. There's not a lot of interactions with anything. There's not a lot of lore because every time you are getting anything lore related, it just breaks with some dumb jokes about anything, about the characters and everything. I don't know. I know this game is for someone and it's not for me. And I'm not saying it's a bad game because it works. It plays how it's supposed to be played. Uh, I'm sure people will enjoy this kind of thing. I'm not one for silly humor. Like a little bit of humor, it's okay. And I think Avid also puts the exact amount of silly humor in things. But maybe in this collaboration, it went too far away, right? And again, I don't think it's a problem of the other developer because, as I mentioned before, I did play a game by the other developer and I did like that game a lot. Like, I think that's one of the best games I have played. Actually, I have a spiritual guidance. It looks great. It has some really unique mechanics and it's really fun to play the game. Learning the story and everything, it's really fun. I just think maybe this was not a good match, like between developers, between stories. Because sometimes you can mix two things you like and get something you don't like, right? Like, have you guys tasted that like Coca-Cola Oreos, right? That Coke Oreos, that it's like Oreo flavored Coke and Coke flavored Oreos. I like Coke and I like Oreos, but you mix them, it's disgusting. It tastes like toothpaste. So I feel like that was the case of this game. Two good things came together and something weird came out. I feel because it just someone just decided to make something too silly and forgot to make an actual spooky game with story. I feel like that's what it happened, right? Like I'm about 20 minutes into the game and nothing but dumb shit has happened, right? It's about here when it starts to get good, right? You know, a chase scene and everything, it gets good. Then it doesn't get good. Then it gets good again. Then it like this is one of the best parts actually, the puzzle solving and this guy killing. Again, I don't love the CGs. I don't think this is the correct art style for an A.V Dosso game or for a spooky game. I mean, it looks kind of gory, but it's just like shock factor. I don't feel like it looks that terrifying. Uh, this was absolutely terrible. I remember this 20-minute song, low quality of whatever. Like, and it crashed after that, right? That's what the worst part. After that, it crashed. So it's like, no, I don't like that, right? And I understand the thing about putting like quirky things in your game. I accept that. These CGs look really good, by the way. But that was not it. I feel like I've been complaining a lot about this game. Again, I don't want to seem like I didn't enjoy a little bit of it. Uh, but it's just like, again, I don't feel anything about these characters. You don't, you expect me to play the game from where these characters come from, but this is a collaboration, so you should not expect that. I don't know anything about these characters. I don't feel anything about these characters except annoyance, because they are had just been annoying. And maybe they have a reason to be annoying or to have these characteristics of a character, right? But I don't know them, and they're just forcing me to see something I don't want to see, and that's not nice, right? And yeah, no one is forcing me to play this game, but I wanted to play this game because it was an A.V Dosso game. The mermaids look amazing, by the way. I love it. Like, can we see the mermaids once again? Can we see the mermaids, please? Yeah, they look really good. Can you? They look really good. They look really spooky. Uh, Again, the CGs, I feel like they are too gory, but in a silly way. I think this game just suffers from the silly, and that's all. Uh, this reminds me of Sakarakatao. Like, for example, this is something serious and something, and the characters are going to snappy, and then spaghetti, and it kind of ruins everything. It's not funny. It's funny like one or two times, but if you do it 15 times, it's not funny. It's just annoying, right? I really have a problem with shows and games that repeat the same joke over and over again. It's not more funny. It's less funny. Uh, I quite like this ending. That's a really good ending. I would say that's my favorite ending. And then again, a good variety of endings, a lot of different things you can do. Again, it's a really complete game. It works, right? But I just don't like it. I don't think it's made for me. And this is my tier list, so I can do whatever the hell I want, right? And that's why I will put mermaids at the bottom, right? I feel like that's not it. Like, remember, this is an A.V Dosso games tier list, so I'm judging things in the A.V Dossometer or something like that. So I will put it at the bottom. I will put it absolutely at the bottom. You can see from my original review and what I said just now that I don't like the game, and that's a fact. I did not enjoy the game. I don't hate the game. It's a respectable game. It's well done, but I just don't like it. And I definitely, I don't think, compared to the other games in this list, I don't think it's as good, right? So it's not a bad game by itself, but by comparison, it just falls down. Let's keep going. We're almost done. Yeah, tier lists usually take like 3 hours apparently. Let's go with Julia Was Alone. That it's gonna be represented just by chapter 1, but I'm gonna be judging all the chapters in one entry. Uh, this game, it's actually a perfect example of a good collaboration with the best of everyone that is collaborating in the game. I think Julia Was Alone really brings out the best of A.V Dosso gaming and the best of Pneumonia Cute art, and I feel like she also collaborated with the story and everything, and it shows because it's not exactly an A.V Dosso story, but it's really a really good combination, right? This is like putting French fries inside your burger, right? It's really good. The first chapter, it's actually one I really like. The chapter release of this game, it's actually really awesome and beneficial to the game because it allows the developers to do different stuff, and each chapter feels unique but also feels connected to the other ones. Can I say how much I love this place? Like, I love this scene. Like, I need more scenes like this with this perspective, with this feeling in indie games. I absolutely adore this for reasons unknown to me. Uh, the whole Julia thing was amazing to me because it managed to evoke the feeling of Alessa, right? Of this character I don't think we get to love Julia as much as we love Alessa because it's a little bit of an obnoxious character and we don't get to know a lot of her aside from her destiny of the Messiah. And again, I did mention this at the end of episode 4 of chapter 4. She feels like a fanfic self-insert character anime, which there's nothing wrong with that. I wrote characters like that before in my life. I think it's something that everyone does. It feels a little bit childish. Again, not a problem, but I think the character suffers from not being as great as Alessa. But I don't think it's fair to compare everything to Alessa, so I'm just gonna ignore that shot of criticism. I like the blue style of the game, the VCR filter of the game. The story goes everywhere, and there's a bunch of plot twists. It goes everywhere in a good way, right? I like the mom. I like all the other characters. Again, I feel like it suffered from we needed more information about certain things, and obviously it was time constrained, and they have to finish it. The developer mentioned to me that they have quite the issues trying to convey everything they wanted to convey, and they have to make adjustments to complete the chapters in time. Which I understand. Making games is hard. Making chapter games must be even harder because you have to keep everything that you already did into consideration. Uh, yeah, it's a bit of a Mary Sue, and by a bit I mean a lot of a Mary Sue, but it's also okay because it's her game, right? The game it's named after her, so it's understandable. Uh, Nothing bad happens to her whatsoever. Bad things happen to other people, unlike with Alessa, right? And yeah, it's not the best main character, but somehow the game is still amazing, and that's surprising because if you make a bad main character, the game usually suffers from it a lot, but this game just suffers a little bit from it. So yeah, I don't think Julia Was Alone. It's a banger. I recommend people to play it. I don't know if we need Julia Was Not Alone Chapter 2 sequel remix HD. I hope this is where it ends, right? Maybe we can get like a side chapter with the soldier or something. But I rather much this idea ends here because it's perfect as it is. Uh, I will put it at the top of A tier. Like I will put this over A House for Alessa 3 just because of the collaboration efforts and the chapter release, which is something that you have to take into consideration with judging games, right? Yeah, actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna put it behind A House for Alessa 3. I just love that A House for Alessa. I'm sorry, but it's still a really really good game. If I were to judge just episode 1 of Julia Was Alone, I would put it at the bottom of S tier. But judging the complete uh, game series, I will put it on A tier. And then we finally have Super Alessa Bros, not to be confused with Super Hikiyami Moriko HD Turbo HD Remix. Uh, this is the last one. It's an Alessa spin-off game, which then again, Alessa had another spin-off game that I didn't manage to record in time, and I lost the file, so I couldn't upload the gameplay. I think it was because I was playing it on the web browser and I forgot to download it, right? Uh, the only two A.V Dosso games that are missing it's Aloy Soldier and the other spin-off from Alessa. That's the only two games I did play, but I didn't manage to hit record and play the game. Uh, Again, this game it's made in a really complicated engine, and I did forgot to replay the game as Greta. I just noticed when I finished the game and I already uploaded the video that I forgot to play as Greta. So I think I kind of missed part of the game experience. But the game is pretty fun. It's a really fun platformer shooting, Mega Man style game. I really love the character design, the enemy design, the fights. It has all the classic NES stuff. It feels so good and it works. And although I don't have a lot to say about the story of this game because it doesn't really have that much story, you don't need story in this kind of games. You just need fun gameplay, and this game has fun gameplay. And I did enjoy it a lot, and it may surprise a lot of people when I decide to put this game into S tier because it's funny and it's really different from the other things the developer had made. And I recognize effort and I recognize trying something new, going out of your comfort zone, trying this new engine, and making something fun in the process for what might be your most beloved IP. I think it is. I think it is a banger. Uh, so I'm just gonna close the video now because I'm done with the playlist. Uh, so yeah, this is it. This is my A.V Dosso. Let me see if I can correct some mistakes. Athomagoria, yeah. Grotesque and the Pixelist, yes. Mausoliosis, which is absolute banger of a collaboration. The Boys in Autumn, obviously a banger for a different reason. House for Alessa 2, Big Alessa, Undergas Mind, most deserving of a remake. Billy Went to a Carnival, the most fun actual RPG mechanics game. Super Alessa Bros, really fun shoot 'em all, right? I feel like you could release Super Alessa Bros 2 and make new characters and stuff like that. And maybe a little bit of a story would benefit this game, but definitely not needed. On E tier, we have A House for Alessa 3, which is, again, peak Alessa performance content-wise, but I still prefer the 2 over this one. Julia Was Alone, chapter game, really complete. Nice collaboration attempt, I would say. Excluding Mausoleosis, because Mausoleosis is so good. I think this is the best example of a good collaboration. Phantoms in the Camp, really, how can I say this? I don't like biggest missed opportunity for people that don't play the game, not by the developer, just like people that don't play Phantoms in the Camp are missing out on a great game. Maybe also most deserving of a sequel. Maybe not a remake, but a sequel. A House for Alessa, the OG. It's obviously the OG, so good. This is exactly in the middle of the almost on the middle of the tier list, because this is the base by what all A.V DOSSOW games should be based, right? If it's better or worse than A House for Alessa one, because it's like the first banger, right? I mean, not the first banger, because previous games have been great, but just like the most recognizable A.V DOSSOW game, I would say. Then the Sakabashira game, really good. A little bit outdated, but amazing boss fights. I like it. 60 Days Till the World Ends, unique storytelling, great. Every Tree Massacre, funny game, a little bit silly, huge titties. One of the best 2 stories being told at the same time that I have seen in any indie game, not just A.V DOSSOW games. Then Pinocchio Goria, the amazing retelling of a story we already know with some plot twists not expected, and one of the best protagonists in my opinion. I really want to see that character in other games, please. Not necessarily a sequel for Pinocchio Goria, but like I love that character. It's charming. Okay. Discard All story, also most deserving of being finished. The Toy Factory Across the Street, nice game. Maybe not benefited by the generic characters. I love the monsters, just the main character and other characters, and the doll doesn't appear enough. It's less character driven than other A.V DOSSOW games, and I think that's a problem for me, I guess. House for Alessa, a sequel that was not needed, but it was still fun to play through. Then we have The Flesh of the Cursed Teacher. Great concept, a little bit silly, so fun to play, but kind of dated because of the engine and the knowledge of the developer at the time, I guess. But I still like it a lot, actually. I will put it higher, but people will judge me, so I'm just gonna leave it at the top of C tier. Adrieta, again, great concept, some weird game design choices that really affected my experience, and I think so far the only game I didn't finish because it was so frustrating. So yeah, Bisquispi, actually I will put Bisquispi over Adrieta because I did manage to finish Bisquispi. It's fun, it's silly, it's weird. It's one of those weird things that it's good. It's weird in the good sense of the word. Toy Leticia, too much silly humor, which again, it's not my jam. This is my tier list. I'm gonna rate things that are just silly lower, but still has a lot of fun gameplay and bosses and jokes that I did like. So yeah, Toy Leticia, it's good on my book. Then we have House for Alessa remake. Again, a remake that was not needed. It's something that I cannot vouch for. Still not a terrible game. It's funny to play. I just prefer the original one, and I'm gonna blind myself of my love for the original one. And then we have Carnival Mermaids, which was affected by a case of the sillies, and all the good mermaid design in the world and all the good horror choices in the world cannot save that. It also crashed, and it also has like an unbearable amount of wasted time by the song. I cannot say a single thing I actually like of this game. So obviously it's gonna be the worst game of A.V DOSSOW. Still not a bad game, by like not a terrible game. Maybe it's a bad game, but it's not terrible. And if anything, I do recommend you guys, like, I feel like if people play this game and they see it's a collaboration with Honey Nut Females, they're gonna be like, oh, this Honey Nut Females fella doesn't know how to make games. But I recommend you go and play other games by Honey Nut Females, because those games are also really good. I don't know what happened with this game, but something went wrong in development of this game, right? or they didn't care and just make something really silly, but something definitely went wrong because two nice developers make a not banger, and that's kind of weird to me. Anyway, that will be all of the A.V Dosso tier list. I hope I did a good job remembering all these games and telling you why I like them and rating them. If you don't agree with me, that's totally okay. I feel like people would place the Flesh of the Cursed Teacher at the bottom and maybe Cannibal Mermaids higher. I understand that. You can have your opinion. You can be wrong if you want to. I have my opinion. And it's this tier list. If you guys like me doing tier lists, I did the Blue Archive one and I did this one. Yeah, they can all be bangers. I understand not everything can be bangers, but I expect everything to be a B with the occasional C. Like like I mentioned, I probably would put like all the B ones into A, and I will put all the C ones into B, and I will put all the D ones into C because I don't think any A.V Dosso games deserve to be a D. But this is how the tier list is made, and I'm just gonna follow the instructions. Uh, so if you like me doing tier list, which I find something funny to do, and I can just waste 3 hours of my time speaking and talking to you guys, let me know, and I will try to do more tier lists. Maybe not of indie games, like maybe my favorite indie games of all time, maybe a show I played, maybe a gacha game I played, my waifus or something like that. You can suggest tier lists in the comments if you want to, or you can let me know in the Discord server. Yeah, I think this is pretty comprehensive. I will probably shuffle around a little bit of these entries, right? So I feel like I really, really like the Undergas Mine, but I don't know if it's better than these ones. And I will spend like another 3 hours just trying to make the perfect order of things because I really do like all the games of this developer a lot. Even the ones I did not like that much, I like them still. So I will try to make like the comprehensive tier list a little bit more close. Like I would say like amazing, good, great, and they needed a little bit more of love or something like that. I don't know, right? Uh, but like if there's something I'm sure about, it's Automagoria. It's the number one because that game was really something. And I would say like, oh, Automagoria remake. No, I think the game it's perfect as it is, which is kind of weird because it has some issues, right? But if your issues makes you exactly what you have to be, are there really issues? I don't think so, right? So I'm pretty sure of this one. I'm pretty sure of Grotesque and the Pixelesque, which I will if I have $1 billion, I will give some of those dollars to see a sequel or like a continuation of Grotesque and the Pixelesque. Uh, I might remake Under. Oh, hello, Automaton Axel. This is the developer. Thank you for coming to the stream. How are you doing? Uh, you made a remake of Undergas Mine since it's not available anymore. Oh, I didn't know it was not available. Thank you for coming to the stream. I hope if you managed to watch it, something. I hope you like it. Uh, can we clap for the developer a little bit? Clap, 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 clap. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it a lot. Like I really don't know if I should finish here because I really want to put, for example, 83 Massacre. I did quite like a lot of things about this game, so I would like to put it up here. But I feel like I'm just gonna end up putting everything on S tier. But I cannot put everything on S tier, otherwise it doesn't make sense to make a tier list, right? I do really like the Flesh of the Cursed Teacher. Like, you can judge me all you want. I like that game. So I would probably put it at the bottom of B tier. And then I will probably... Like, I think maybe I'm gonna lower Phantoms in the Camp to B tier. Yeah, I think that's okay. I'm just gonna stop moving this because otherwise I'm never going to finish. I feel like a lot of them belong in the... I don't know, like if I was being like judging with... You have to judge these games as hard as you can. I would probably put like Odrieta and Toy Leticia into D, as well as the Flesh of the Cursed Teacher, and because I know they have their problems, right? But having problems doesn't make them a bad game. And I understand that's the people that make games or art or anything, they judge their projects much harder than other people. But this is my comprehensive tier list of how much I enjoy them. Thank you for coming, Axel. I really appreciate it a lot. I love your games. Thank you for coming. Actually, before we go, if you're still watching, before you go, can you say some words to fellow game developers if you want to? Uh, I think people will appreciate that. Maybe I can like pin the comment or something like that so people can read it. Or maybe you can comment on the video after it's finished, right? So people that come and watch the video can read words from you. Yeah, just if you want to comment something for fellow game developers, you can leave a comment after I finish the stream so people can read the comment, because if you comment it on the chat, it's gonna get lost, right? I would pretty much appreciate that because I respect you as a developer. And I think this will be all, guys. Again, thank you for watching. I recommend playing all these games, or at least the ones that are available. If they are not available, you can watch my video, but if they are available, go play the game. I think that will be cool, right? If you play the games instead of just watching the video. Adrieta was your second game, and Automagore your first, right? I mean, for a second game, I think Adrieta is pretty good. Like, that's one of the things I didn't remember or I didn't know, and I feel like it would affect my rating of the game, right? Because for a second game, it's amazing. I take that into consideration when I rate games. When people say like, "Oh, this is my first game," okay, this is your first game. I'm gonna ignore some of these mistakes, right? For a second game, I think it's really good, but Automagoria for a first game, Jesus, that's amazing. Devs should aim to have fun and follow their artistic vision, and not obsess over becoming the next great indie hit. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, indeed. The first version of Automagoria was really rough. Oh yeah, that's the complete version, right? Yeah, that is true. Well, sadly, I ran out of time for today, guys. I would love to stay here and talk with everyone. Uh, but my dogs are asking for food. I have to go now. I run out of time. Thank you, A.V DOSSOW, for coming. I really appreciate it a lot. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Universe, for coming. Thank you to everyone who came to watch this. Again, I'm not used to rating stuff, and hopefully I wasn't mean. It's not my intention. And I will see you guys in the next indie game stream or whatever I decide to do with this channel. Don't forget, we have the channel anniversary on Saturday, and I'm gonna be doing something silly, and then I'm gonna be doing some karaoke, right? And after the stream, after the anniversary stream on Saturday, I'm gonna be presenting you guys with the idea for 2 new games I'm gonna be making. Hopefully they will be done by Halloween. So yeah, big games, big tier list, big Moriko-sama. So yeah, go play indie games, guys, and have fun making your own games. I will see you later.